All right, we're gonna watch a movie tonight. Do you know what it's called?
No.
What's it called, Sydney?
The Brick documentary.
The Lego documentary?
The
Lego Brickumentary.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of it?
I saw it in one of the Lego magazines once.
Yeah. Have you heard of it, Violet? No.
What?
Do you know what a Do you know what a documentary is?
I don't know that.
What do you think, Luke? Are you ready for a documentary?
Yeah.
Your first documentary.
Yeah.
Katie, you ready?
No.
Documentary.
All right, let's go.
Look at Daddy.
Yeah? What is that?
Popcorn and candy.
Poignant Thorn makes last-minute preparations on his battlefield. In the Netherlands,
What do you think, Luke?
I didn't like it
You didn't like it? Why not?
because I didn't like the fighting weapons.
Was there anything you did like about it?
Like people.
What did you guys think about it?
I liked it. What was your favorite part? The big spaceship.
The big X-Wing? You like that part? What about you, Sid?
My favorite part was the competition where they had to use the Lego set. They gave them 3 Lego sets, and then they had to build one big set, using their imagination. I really liked that part.
So overall, you liked it?
I really liked it. Yeah. Bye. I like it.
All right, so here's the mom and dad's thoughts on the film. I would say I enjoyed it. It was interesting. Speaking of it, watching it as a family, I think it was a little much for the little ones. They were up and about through most of it.
Yeah, I think it was just a little bit long for them and didn't keep their attention. So
Right.
it was fine. They were just kind of roaming around and playing.
Right.
And, but I think the older girls were interested in it. So
Much more. Agreed. I think the sections that I found most interesting. So the format, they sort of move through these different Legos in use in different realms of society and creatively and science and all this stuff. And so there was lots of fun tidbits. I think the things that our family sort of gravitated to and enjoyed the most were the big X-Wing build that they went back to a couple times. I really enjoyed seeing its use in architecture and planning and the city planning stuff. That was really appealing to me. And then the therapy part of it, I thought those were the most interesting. And then the space part with the minifigures, sending them out to space, that was really neat. So those were the highlights for me. Any thoughts on what stood out for you?
I think just seeing how it's evolved over the last maybe 10 years since the company was having a little bit of trouble at the end of the 90s, beginning of 2000s, and then seeing how different things have changed in the last 10 years, just the interaction with the fans and how adult fans have kind of come into play. A lot of, fans designing sets and things like that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I know Violet really loved the Lego bombing thing and came up and whispered can we do that? And so she was really excited. So I think we'll have to try and do some of that. I think the only thing I really wish they would have touched on more is when they were talking about the therapy stuff. I thought maybe they would touch on Lego education, which they didn't. And I know we have young kids and we homeschool, so that's a way that we enjoy Lego, but I wish they would have maybe touched on that, at
There's
least
a little more
mention
there.
it.
Yeah, I think there was a couple things that were missing. We were talking about it shortly after we saw it, and there's a section that was specific to sort of Lego films online and the evolution of Lego videos and animation and stuff. And the animation itself in the film was really well done, and I think it was all stop motion as opposed to the film, which was all CG. So that was a nice touch. But it doesn't mention the White Stripes music video, which I think is a huge milestone in sort of that realm of Lego animation. And so yeah, and it was missing some of the education stuff as well. And it's interesting. It focused on some characters or some tidbits of like people or this or that seemed very un-Lego, and at first it sort of rubbed me the wrong way, but I think the more I thought about it, the more it sort of like fit with the theme of like, look, this is a thing that's sort of taken off and it's out of Lego's control, and this is, for better or worse, this is the people who use it, and you get all types.
Yeah, I agree. Some of it was like, I don't know, but it does kind of show that Lego is for everybody. And it's for so many different types of people in so many different ways. So that part it did capture, so.
Yeah. So anyways, I think overall it was fun. I don't think it's gonna break any box office records, or I don't think kids are gonna be going to it over and over again, but like in terms of being a documentary and being informative and just sort of a fun look at the road that the company's been through and the impact that the bricks have had in sort of society and people's lives. It's not like it's changed the world, but it's an interesting story, I think.
Yeah. The only other thing I was just seeking that they didn't mention was like reselling Legos, like Bricklink or eBay or anything like that. I don't know if that's because they were talking and interviewing with Lego company, and so even though the Lego company didn't do the film, they were involved, and maybe that was part of the understanding or not, or if they just chose to leave that out. But it's kind of interesting that they didn't even mention that. They kind of talk about, this part you can get for like 3 to 4 cents, but this part that they haven't made in a long time would cost like a few dollars, but they don't really say how you would get it necessarily.
I kind of thought
interesting.
That's a good point. I thought the same thing. They sort of danced around it. I thought they were going to go there. Like they were talking about rarity and sort of like the resale market and Lego's reaction to it, but then they sort of just kind of moved on. So there's a lot. I guess you can only cover so much, and I guess it depends on what you bring into it. You'll feel how much, like whether they like left too much out, or maybe they, I don't know. It's interesting. I'd be curious to see someone who is not super involved with Lego, that maybe wasn't a fan, that's not an adult fan of Lego and that sort of thing, like what their reaction would be, because I think it's definitely catered towards people who already like them. Maybe it's not necessarily like this big expose documentary, but for what it is, it was fun.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was cool. It was nice. So for us, we have 6. We're a family of 6, and so that would have been an expensive trip to the theater, and in all honesty, we probably would not have gone. And so the format of the release was nice because we were able to pay a little more for a rental, but like it came out today, so we rented it and streamed it at home and made a movie night out of it, which is nice. It's nice to offer that, and I know it's not a normal format for a release, and it's also like a documentary that's probably not going to get a huge theatrical audience anyway, so it was nice that they made that available.
Especially for people in smaller cities and stuff that maybe it's not released in the theater in their town, so it's a way for them to view it.
Right. Anywho, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.